Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my full Monarch Season 2, Episode 1 video. There are a whole bunch of WTF moments, Easter eggs for the Monsterverse. I know there's going to be a ton of questions about where this fits in the timeline with Season 1, how this also ties in with the upcoming movie Godzilla and Kong Supernova, so we will break it all down. You could definitely tell they really wanted to crank the Titan budget up for Season 2. Like, we need Godzilla, we need way more Kong, we need way more of this new Titan X, so it is going to be crazy. The actual title of Episode 1, Cause and Effect, is a reference to the big threat this season, the big villain Titan, Titan X, the aquatic-based Titan, which is able to escape Axis Mundi because of what they did at the end of Season 1, going to Axis Mundi, opening the portal, then opening it again to try and rescue Shaw during this episode. There was this funny moment where I laughed at the end of the episode where Kong starts making a dead-on run for Titan X as Titan X is trying to make a break for it in the ocean, and he gives him the stink eye as he's running past the helicopters, like almost as if Kong was going to give them the middle finger. This is your problem. You created this problem. How am I going to solve this now? Because there are a couple points in the episode where they reference both Kong and Godzilla trying to keep balance between the Titans and the humans on the surface world, and now that Titan X is back, that's completely thrown off again. Sort of like another King Ghidorah situation, which is also funny because this takes place just before the events of Godzilla King of Monsters. We will get into the timeline too during the video because Apex is still very much a thing and they get destroyed by the end of Godzilla vs. Kong. There are a couple of sly references to the stuff, quote-unquote, that Apex is working on right now, which basically winds up being Mechagodzilla. But there are a lot of references to this brand new Titan villain, Titan X, being the king of the seas, the way that you refer to Godzilla as King of Monsters, King Ghidorah during Godzilla King of Monsters. We just went through Skar King, a whole bunch of different Titan Kings popping up. This one just happens for this Season 2 to be a aquatic-based Titan King. But the episode starts immediately in the moments from the end of Season 2 with the middle of that attack from Kong at the Apex base with the team and the younger Keiko from the past now in present day because of the way time moved differently inside Axis Mundi, so now she's about the same age as her son Hiroshi Randa. If it wasn't clear last season, her previous husband before Bill Randa was his biological father. The series never really digs into him that deeply. They only reference him in passing in Season 1. He died before she came to the United States, before she met Shaw, and before she met Bill Randa. And the whole reason why Kong attacked the base is because they were on Skull Island, and it's because of the portal to Axis Mundi, because it sounds like he either knows or he expects Titan X to try and get out again, because it's also why he gets pissed off again when he sees Titan X emerging from the second portal at the end of the episode. This is another big question that they raised too when they revealed that Titan X had been trapped in Axis Mundi, possibly by Godzilla or Kong's ancestors at some point, and it had just been trapped down there for a long time, and it's why the people on the surface world had not seen Titan X in a long time. You could also look at Kong attacking the Axis base because they're evil, wink back to Godzilla versus Kong because Godzilla was also attacking Axis bases because of the things they were doing experimenting with different Titans to create Mechagodzilla. But at least short term, the reason why Kong was attacking was because of Titan X and keeping the portal to Axis Mundi closed so that no other Titans, including Titan X, escaped. One of the cool things about them introducing the idea of Axis Mundi to the canon in Season 1 is that it's sort of like this mystery area. It's not the Hollow Earth, it's a completely different place, so they can magic up any new original Titans that they want to from that place, like any new potential threats could surface from Axis Mundi. Sort of like a buried treasure full of villain Titans that you can surface in the future.
And here we go. I hope you're hungry for nothing.
But the other big reminder they give you a couple times at the beginning of the episode is that it was Axis people who helped rescue them from Axis Mundi, not just Monarch. So at least at this part of the timeline, Axis and Monarch were either working together at different points or knew about each other and had interacted several times in the past. They are two very, very big, very powerful corporations, so it would make sense that they would be aware of each other. I think part of the idea at the end of Godzilla vs. Kong when Axis was destroyed is that Monarch absorbed all their assets and their technology. But if you weren't sure, Season 2 is meant to take place right after the events of Season 1, or like technically 2 years because there's a 2-year time jump they explain, and before the events of Godzilla King of Monsters because Axis does not have King Ghidorah's head yet to finish creating Mechagodzilla. Like that hasn't happened yet. Most of the intro is similar to the Season 1 intro, but they do change it in a slightly different way, like there's a little bit more Skull Island, a little more Kong lore, because he's such a much bigger part of Season 2 than he was in Season 1. You also notice the opposing Axis uniforms and Monarch uniforms in the intro as well too, so it sounds like Axis will continue to be a big part of Season 2. Then there's a little bit of a time jump after they've escaped Skull Island and Keiko is on board the Monarch ship. They have their reunion moment between her and Hiroshi, who previously thought that she died years ago until they discovered Axis Mundi and started to piece together that she might still be alive. Like, oh wow, we actually have a chance at getting her back. They start to explain to her how Monarch has changed since her time. She was one of the original founders of Monarch with Shaw and Bill Randa before the military co-opted it, and it became this much bigger, more soulless corporation. There are some references of this later in the episode too, where Tim is trying to get Keiko to take back control of Monarch so that to return it to its former glory as opposed to what it's turned into in present day. We will see if that winds up happening because they literally kill off Natalia, the former head of Monarch, by Titan X, RIP to her. Just real quick swipe her right out of existence, creating a new job opening as the person who runs Monarch. How convenient that one of the people that helped found Monarch just showed up. When Tim says Kong started acting out of character suddenly, it's because of the threat from Axis Mundi and Titan X escaping, like he was worried about other Titans as well as Titan X escaping the portal. Shaw is still currently trapped down there. He stayed behind to help them escape at the end of Season 1, and they eventually plan to rescue him. But the weird thing here is they make it seem like Kate is the only person on the team that actually cares about rescuing him, so Shaw is not that popular amongst the group right now. She passes out, throwing us into one of her flashbacks back to southern Chile in 1957 with the three of them looking for the water-based Titan, which winds up being Titan X, which they call the aquatic god that the people there worship. They did the same thing during Season 1 where they used the Season 1 flashbacks to set up all the stuff that's happening in present day. So in the past, they learn all these things about Titan X. Keiko learns all these things about Titan X so that she can help them deal with Titan X in present day too. If you're a real big fan of Monsterverse and classic Toho Godzilla movies, you probably recognize the Pulgasari Easter egg, which is actually a reference to a Korean Godzilla-type monster movie that was released in 1986. It was part of a collaboration between Korean filmmakers and Toho based on Korean mythology, which they kind of reference during the Randa dialogue here, like, oh, it's this Korean myth that we look for all around Korea but never found. But because of the way they mention it in the episode, Pulgasari is now canon to the Monsterverse movies. They reach the town and start to learn why everything is so sus. It's because the people there worship Titan X and they're afraid that the Titan won't help them if somebody comes along and does something bad to try and get rid of it. So this is why all the townspeople are wary of the three of them showing up, asking all these questions, trying to take pictures, because they're trying to keep everybody else, the rest of the world, from messing with their god. You have to remember that Titans are actually common around the world, like Godzilla, other Titans, so it's actually not that weird for different peoples around the world to be worshipping different types of Titans. There was actually a reference to this during Godzilla King of Monsters, where they found the ancient ruins sunken underground, like the ancient peoples of the earth used to worship all Titans like gods. There are a couple questions that they didn't completely answer with the flashbacks, though, even though we learn about Titan X a little bit. There's a shrine with a particular symbol on it. They haven't explained the relevance of the symbol itself, but it will probably have something to do with the way they stopped Titan X in present day. I've not seen any official names for these shelled titans, these mollusk-looking titans. I'm just calling them scarabs. That's the only thing I've seen people refer to them as scarabs. But I believe we'll see more of them in present day too, because Keiko clocks some of them at the site from Axis Mundi where they got the footage from, like, wait, what's that? And she recognizes it from the flashbacks. My assumption is that they just serve Titan X in the same way that King Ghidorah got some of the other Titans to serve him briefly until Godzilla dominated over him again and became the new King of Monsters again. We get a couple moments between Kentaro and Kate, who says 2 years the job was to get her and the others back. That's because of the time differential inside Axis Mundi. She's been gone for 2 years, that little time jump at the end of Season 1. Since then, he's been working with Monarch to get her back, and imply he's going to continue working with them as a way to stay closer with their father, who has also been working for Monarch since he was younger too, because his mother founded Monarch, so he's kind of raised in Monarch. Now the fact that Keiko is back, their grandmother and his mother, just gives them more reason to want to stay close to the action this season. Also the idea that she might wind up taking control of Monarch 2, or they give her some measure of control because she's so knowledgeable in what's happening with Titan X and these other mollusk titans. There are a couple more Shaw references to him surviving, and we actually see what happened to him after he sacrificed himself. He basically survives the fall back to the forest floor. For the most part, he just wanders around for the episode until they send the escape vehicle back down when they reopen the portal. When we go back to Hiroshi, I believe the song that he's singing to Keiko while she's passed out is a song that she used to sing to him when he was young before she disappeared into Axis Mundi in the first place. You remember in the flashbacks in Season 1 we saw she disappeared when he was still a very young boy. When they reference going back to Skull Island and it being a nexus point, it's between the surface and Axis Mundi, and also the Hollow Earth, which is a completely separate place from Axis Mundi. Most of the Monsterverse movies, especially the last couple movies, seem more concerned with the Hollow Earth, as opposed to the TV show, which seems more concerned with Axis Mundi. We get a couple daddy-daughter moments with them having little cats in the cradle because he's been gone from her life for so long. He basically dipped after G-Day, which was the events of the first Monsterverse Godzilla movie. Later in the episode, he also tries to justify having the two families like, well, it was kind of different with your mother than it was with my other wife and Kintaro's mother. Basically, the way he explains it is that one knew what he was up to with Monarch and all the secret stuff he was working on, and another one of his wives didn't really know, but he was able to be his authentic self with them. So he was basically just two completely different people when he was with them. Brenda then asks Korra about Axis Mundi and to help more with Apex, who claim that they're trying to stop all Titans from ever attacking again, which is meant to culminate in the construction of Mechagodzilla. That was their big play, their big Titan deterrent that they thought they could control, which, spoiler alert, they could not. We've all seen Godzilla vs. Kong, we saw how that ended. Mechagodzilla wound up going spectacularly bad and breaking free from their programming, just going completely off the rails. This is basically what Brenda is asking her about, though. Do you want to help build Mechagodzilla, which took them years to complete through the events of Godzilla King of Monsters? So remember, this is happening, Season 2 is happening before Godzilla King of Monsters, so they don't have Ghidorah's brain to actually use to finish that.
And in that dream, I saw one thing.
When they decide that they're going to go rescue Shaw and go AWOL, they use Tim for a little bit more comedy. He mentions Outpost 18. That's Monarch's Outpost 18 for the Pacific Ocean Research Station. It was also featured in King of Monsters. The G-TAS satellite that he mentions is also basically a glorified Titan tracker named after Godzilla. And I love his reaction to being touched by her. He doesn't get touched a lot by women, so this is actually a big surprise for him. I was not a real big fan of his at first in Season 1, but he slowly grew on me as a character, so hopefully he's a little bit more fun this season. For the most part, they use him for comedy. You also notice when they sneak back to Skull Island on that small boat, they have surprisingly few supplies, but I think that's because they were planning on staying there for very long. We're gonna get here and then get out real quick, but probably should have grabbed a backpack or two of gear. There are a couple Titans that we spot on their way back to the site. We see a couple of giant crab Titans. They only have about 6 hours left before the storm wall around Skull Island closes enough so they won't be able to get through it, and they'll be stuck. And I think they also use this moment to show that Kintaro has kind of gone to Titan College in the past 2 years, so he's knowledgeable enough to be helpful because his previous profession was just as a fine artist, which would normally make you useless in situations like this. So they're basically saying that Kintaro is useful this season to everyone else, he's part of the team in a much bigger way. There are a couple more Titans. I think this Lightning Bird Titan is meant to be a Psycho Vulture, and it's attacking a Leaf Wing Titan, and then eats some giant Titan grubs. Then in the past, they clocked the man who attacked them over the picture has a tattoo of a Titan, which is meant to be Titan X with the tentacles wrapped around the sailing ship that's dragging it under, which Bill Randa references his ship in the past that was destroyed, making him obsessed with this idea, why he wants to learn so much about it. They tease a little bit more of the love triangle that's going on between the three of them in the past, with the idea that in present day, Bill Randa has been dead for a long time, so potentially they could resume their romance that they kind of put on the back burner when she got with Bill Randa in the past, but now Shaw is super old and she's super young, so what is that going to be like? It's just creating a lot of drama for the season for this whole subplot between the two of them. Part of me wonders if they were actually trying to create an out for Kurt Russell if he didn't want to come back for Season 2, but then he said he did want to come back for Season 2, so they're okay, we'll create this romance subplot in present day when she comes back, the younger version of her character. But in the past, this is more them laying the groundwork for Titan X, the aquatic Titan god who becomes the main villain of present day. Keiko then learns in present day about all of Monarch's advancements, technological, cultural advancements. This is also why Tim wants her to take control of Monarch again in present day, because he claims that Monarch has essentially lost its way, lost its soul, and she can help them get it back. Most of you have spotted the problem with this though, like yes, she could take control of Monarch here at this part of the timeline, but we haven't heard anything about her in the movies later in the timeline, so the assumption is that either she does not take control of Monarch this season, or if she does, she leaves the organization before the events of those future movies. Keiko then spots in the footage of Kong's attack on the Apex base some of the Scarab Titans that she saw in the past and starts connecting the dots, making it seem like they were trying to free Titan X. When we go back to the flashbacks and they spot the cave paintings explain the relationship between the Scarabs and Titan X, I think they're just trying to hype up the idea that it is another king of the ocean, aquatic-based king Titan that's powerful on the level of Kong or Godzilla, too powerful for one of them to stop by themselves. Also because Kong is pretty weak inside water. Very, very strong, but not a great swimmer, as we saw during Godzilla vs. Kong. But who is very powerful in the water but Godzilla, giving us another reason for the characters to go back and get Godzilla's help with Kong to also take them down together.
We need Kong. And Godzilla.
Get another Kong and Godzilla team up. This will also raise a lot of questions too, because if they're going to try and get Godzilla and Kong to work together, how is this going to happen earlier in the timeline before the events of Godzilla vs. Kong? So we'll see how they deal with that on the show on a canonical level without breaking the timeline. What they will probably say is that there have been times in the past where they have helped each other, but not been like super bro team up in the way they are in the present day of the movies. Like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Back in present day, they use another Titan to go full Jurassic Park with Kentaro. This feels like a comp to the raptors crawling around the building with some kind of giant rat-like Titan. I haven't seen the official name for this listed yet, so maybe they'll post this at some point. Down in Axis Mundi, Shaw also faces off against a bored Titan with a tiny little knife. I'm not sure what he expected to do in this situation, but thankfully he doesn't have to deal with it because the escape vehicle comes back down. Thank you very much, Kate, for pressing the button. She's like the only person that wants to rescue Shaw. But another reference back to the title of the episode, Cause and Effect, her rescuing Shaw allows Titan X to escape using the portal as Shaw comes up on it like, oh, those tentacles don't look good, this isn't going to be good. Somebody call Kong, somebody call Godzilla. You also notice a bunch of other beetle-like Titans. These are different from the Scarab Titans though, completely different type. We get a little teaser for Kong's first major Titan battle of the season when it tries to catch Titan X as it makes for the ocean. But it seems like either that'll happen at the beginning of episode 2, or he won't be able to catch Titan X in time. Part of the idea, remember, is that he can't swim, so it's not like he can swim after Titan X, which seems like it's much, much faster in the water than even Godzilla. We also get that quick moment where he just swipes Natalia out of existence to RIP, creating the job opening at the top of Monarch. You can let me know in the comments if you think that Keiko is going to use this as an excuse to take over the company. Like, well, if there's a job that's needed, if people need my help, I'll step in. We will see what they do with that long term because I think it depends on how many more seasons the show runs. Because if it doesn't run for a ton more seasons, then it really doesn't matter that much. Shaw's able to make it back after Titan X. He smashes the portal device, closing the portal to Axis Mundi, at least for this season. We will see if they ever try to go back there this season, but for the most part, Titan X is meant to be the main threat, so at least on a narrative level, the show has everything it needs from Axis Mundi right now. My assumption that stopping it will have something to do with the lore that they start to learn about in the past, like that special symbol, but they didn't fully explain. We'll probably get a bunch more flashbacks for that. And my assumption is the end of the season will be Godzilla and Kong trapping Titan X back down in Axis Mundi again. You also notice at the end of the episode here, when Kong makes a break for it after Titan X, they use a little of the Godzilla Monsterverse theme music, like, let them fight. Are we actually going to see them fight? Not at the end of this episode, unfortunately. Maybe next week's episode or after that. But I did love the way that Kong gave them the stink eye as he was running past them, like, this is all your fault. I saw you open that portal. My assumption is the way this goes down is that Kong fights Titan X and loses the first fight, and that's why they come up with the idea that they need Godzilla's help. Like, we need an aquatic Titan who's really good, or one that's good in water, and that is Godzilla. Part of the idea too is that now that Titan X is going to be active on the surface world, Godzilla will probably detect him himself as well, like, oh, there's a giant Titan calling a bunch of other Titans to its service. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below, and if there's any Easter eggs or references to the Monsterverse lore that I didn't talk about during the video that you spotted, just write them below in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you also want me to continue doing weekly Monarch episode videos. If people like it enough, if the video for episode 1 here does well enough, I will continue doing week-to-week videos. They will also probably piggyback on the hype this season to try and promote Godzilla and Kong Supernova, so I'm expecting them to drop another trailer at some point, maybe towards the end of Season 2. Whatever they wind up releasing, of course I will do videos, so everybody be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss anything. I've already done a big video for that first trailer they released. Click here for that, and click here for all my Monarch episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.